Hello, BookTube. I have a tag for you today. I was tagged in an original tag by Adrian over at Stripcover Lit. They have a determination for 2019 to do a video a day, and that is resulting in Tag Tuesdays, and some of the tags are incredible. They're on a roll. And this is a terrific one. Boy, oh boy, Adrian tagged a ton of people at the end of his video. And I want to tag a ton more people. I wish everybody would do these. These are fantastic questions. So since there are 52 questions, so the goal for me is going to be to get through this in any kind of usable time. I'm going to try to be, in other words, brief. So let's get right to them. Question number 1. What book are you reading right now? Well, we had a bit of a problem right from the start. I am not a dawdling reader, so I'm not going to stop in the middle of reading a book in order to make a video. So we can talk about the one that I just finished. I just finished this one. It's by Mike Winnetka, and it's Croc and Turtle, the bestest friends ever. It's a kid's book from Bloomsbury. I think it's out new in stores now. And it's the story of a crocodile who is hanging out with his best friend, the turtle, and bragging a little, saying, I am the strongest of all because I can lift this rock. And then an elephant shows up and easily lifts the rock and says, well, all right, but I can jump the highest because I can jump this rock. And then a kangaroo shows up, or a rabbit, and he says he's the fastest of all, and a cheetah shows up. And it looks like it's going to be demoralizing for both of them because, of course, if the crocodile can't do any of these things, then the turtle can't. But you'll have a big smile on your face by the time you're done. And it's a lot of fun. Let me show you the illustrations are a lot of fun. My favorite one was when the cheetah leaves the crocodile. Look at the look on his face. And then, as a final point, we get just that is the whole page. And this is... It's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun to read to your little ones. So I just did that. That's going to have to count for the book I'm reading now. Question number 2. What was the last thing you highlighted? I don't highlight. Question number 3. What do you plan to read next? This right here. Conan the Marauder. When I was at the Boston Public Library book sale with Chris and Giselle, I found, or rather no, at the Harvard bookstore, I found a bunch of these old mass market Conan pastiche novels, and I read them all when they first came out, loved them all, want to read them all again, so I'll pop that right down before I get to the day's serious reading. Let's see here. Where did that leave us? What do you want to read next? Okay, question number 4. One fiction writer, living or dead, with whom you would like to grab a drink. And questions like this are always a little bit odd for me because my reason for picking the people is not literary. So a fiction writer that I would want to grab a drink with would be George Higgins, the author of The Friends of Eddie Coyle, and a bunch of other books. I would very much like to sit across the table from him again and talk with him. So he would be my choice. And that's going to be true for all of these. Although a fiction writer who's alive, this Andrew Martin person, author of a debut book called Early Work that got praised in the New York Times, seems like he might be interesting to have a drink with. God knows where he lives. Question number 5. One nonfiction writer, living or dead, with whom you would like to grab a drink. The great American historian Samuel Eliot Morison. Question number 6. One poet, living or dead, with whom you would like to grab a drink. James Merrill. Question number 7. One booktuber with whom you would like to grab a drink. Booktubers drink? I don't know. Maybe an Olive from a book Olive? Of course, it would require that she come to visit. Question number 8. Emily Dickinson or Edgar Allan Poe? Edgar Allan Poe. Question number 9. Hemingway or Fitzgerald? Fitzgerald. Question number 10. Jane Austen or Charles Dickens? Jane Austen. Question number 11. Harris or Hitchens? It's going to have to be Crichton for Hitchens. Not the. I'm assuming the pairing with Sam Harris means they're religious, they're anti-religious writings. With Hitchens, it would be his literary writings, his innumerable book reviews. Question number 12: Stephen King or Michael Crichton? Mike Crichton, but also anybody other than Stephen King. Question number 13, Bret Easton Ellis or Chuck Palahniuk? Bret Easton Ellis. Question number 14, Kurt Vonnegut or John Green? Question number 15, Shakespeare's poems or plays? His poems, or his plays, rather. Question number 16, Adrian Fort or Dalton Gentry? Do I have to choose? I think I would pick one for some things and one for other things. Is that totally weaselly? I'm entertaining a trip to the bookstore. Maybe Dalton. Dicey walk back through a dangerous part of town at night. Maybe Adrian. I'm all right. I don't know that I can choose between the two of them. Let's just move on. Question number 17, Cormac, McCarthy or J.K. Rowling? J.K. Rowling. Question number 18, Hannibal Lecter or Voldemort? Hannibal Lecter. Question number 19, T. Carragher Boyle or George Saunders? George Saunders. Question number 20, good writing or good story? Fantastic strip cover lit question. For me, good story. Question number 21, YA or children's lit? YA. Question number 22, irony or humor? Humor. Question number 23, sci-fi or horror? Sci-fi, definitely. Question number 24, fantasy or nonfiction? Nonfiction. Question number 25, rather find a new favorite contemporary writer or a new favorite old-time great? New favorite contemporary writer. Easier to recommend to other people and to talk up, and possibly to me. Question number 26, sonnet or haiku? Sonnet. Question number 27, Sestina or Villanelle? How about a punch to the face? Does that work as a third alternative? I'm sorry. Questions like that bring out the old Steve from eons ago, who mainly, when presented with a question, Sestina or Villanelle, wants to ask the asker of the question, would you like a wedgie, a willy, or the dreaded rear admiral? So let's just move on. Number 28, spend the evening at a library or a bookstore? A library if I get to work, a bookstore if I don't. Question number 29, magazine or Wikipedia article? Magazine, absolutely. I need to resubscribe to a ton of magazines, but I have lost my checkbook. It's the only thing I use checks for, and I cannot find my checkbook. Cannot find it anywhere. God knows what happened to it. Let's see. Oh no, did I lose the list? No, I didn't. Okay. Let's see here. Where were we? Question number 30, dictionary or encyclopedia? Encyclopedia. Question number 31, the writer I would like to write my biography? Maybe George Saunders, if he's free. Question number 32, I do or do not highlight in my books? I don't highlight in my books. Question number 33, I do or do not write in my books? I write in my books all the time. Question number 34, earliest memory of a library? It was a very, very, very long time ago in a very small town, far from any center of civilization. And my earliest memory was being sternly told that my dogs could not come in with me. I had not been told that. And in virtually any other place that I had gone, I had not been told that. And there I was, told that. It's amazing that I ever recovered from such a bad, negative first impression. Question number 35. The last time you went to the library was just recently. I went there for the Boston Public Library book sale and walked through the new library where I really should go. I really should go to the new library, to the actual working community part of the library. Either there or one of the libraries here in Jamaica Plain, but I shouldn't just keep ignoring libraries. I have a use for them. I just need to work them back into my routine. I'm very much, whenever I put on pants and leave my little monk's room here, I am very much a creature of routine. And all I need to do is work them back into a routine, and I will always use them. I just haven't done that. I mean to do that in 2019. Let's see here. Question number 36. Have you ever stolen or accidentally stolen books from the library? yes, the aforementioned very, very small town, a very small but beautiful library, long before there was any such thing as electronic barcodes or beeping tags or anything like that. I would often become so engrossed in a book that when the time came for me to leave, I would leave with the book, and I would be working on it and finish it, and then realize, out in the field or by a riverbank with my dogs, and then I would realize, wait a minute, this isn't yours. This isn't your book. And I would just have to sheepishly go back and admit that. Let's see here. Question number 37. Ballpark, how many books do you own? About 5,000. Question number 38. How many books do you think would make a reasonable personal library? I'm thinking 2,000. I own more than 5,000. And I think 2,000 is basically, not strictly in terms of numbers, but this room is 7 feet by 15 feet. And every wall is lined with bookcases, and every bookcase is filled with books. That ought to be enough. This ought to be enough for all the books that I actually need. And instead, I am taking up almost 3 times as much space. And I shouldn't. It shouldn't be necessary to do that. I just haven't figured out the origami to make it possible in this space. I will. I am always fighting with my library. Let's see here. Question number 39. So there's Sense and Sensibility, there's Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, etc. How do you feel about the phenomenon, this horror mashup phenomenon? It doesn't happen anymore, I don't think. It was superseded by those Shakespearean adaptations of the scripts of Star Wars movies. But I always thought that I was working in bookstores when Pride and Prejudice and Zombies came out, and I liked it because it would always give me a chance to talk with people about Pride and Prejudice, and that's always fun. It was a way in to talk about Pride and Prejudice or Sense and Sensibility or Anna Karenina, Android Karenina. Let's see here. Question number 40. Horror trope you would like to see get more love? Don't have the slightest idea. No opinion whatsoever on the subject. Question number 41. Something that you think gets underutilized in science fiction. I don't keep a quota on such things. I'm perfectly happy to see one thing or another. One extremely rococo thing that I wouldn't impose on science fiction at all is that I kind of miss straightforward heroes. People who are doing the right thing at risk to life, limb, and principle because it's the right thing. That doesn't happen anymore. As far as I can see, that doesn't happen anymore in science fiction or fantasy or fiction just in general, and I miss it. I miss people like that. That is part of the weird extra-fictional, larger-than-life nature of a lot of fictional narrative, and I miss that. And I miss it especially in science fiction. So if you know such things, that would be great to hear. It'd be great to hear that. Let's see here. 42. Flash fiction. Form of and format of literature, or it's just a short story dummy? The flash fiction that I've seen is neither. It's not a form of literature, and it's also not a short story. It's just a few random thoughts along a vaguely centralized theme. It can't be a short story if there's no art involved, any more than it can be art if there's no art involved. If you, as a painter, have a very photogenic bald head, and you make a point of going everywhere in your bare feet, your filthy brown bare feet with cracked toenails, just because it's your cult of personality and you are famous, and when it comes time for you to do a painting, you have an assistant stretch a canvas over a frame on the floor in your workshop, then walk in with a bucket of green paint and simply hurl the bucket onto the canvas and then say, "I'm done," you're a fraud, not an artist. Same thing with flash fiction. Literally, there are chimpanzees who can write a paragraph of English prose. So no, it's not either one. It's not a form of literature, and it's not a really, really short story. Let's see here. Question number 43. If you could own one book from all of history, what would it be? I think this question is going towards a valuable book or a lost book. And I don't have any such. I don't care about books as physical objects, and I'm perfectly happy with the random luck of the draw that history has given us. In terms, that's part of the story of literature, is the books that have survived and have not survived. So, on the one hand, I might say, gee, I would like all the rest of Livy, or all the rest of Tacitus, or I would like for instance, Asinius Pollio, a Roman historian who wrote a lot of stuff. On one hand, I might say it'd be great to have all of that. But on the other hand, no. I mean, I'm okay with the story of it being gone is also part of the story of history. So there isn't one that comes to mind. Let's see here. Question number 44. Audiobooks, the same as reading? Well, of course, obviously they're not the same as reading, since you're not reading when you do it. I don't join in the bandwagon of people who think that they are a complete fraud. But it's not the same experience as reading, and you're not doing reading or the world of literature or fellow readers any favors to say that it is. I wish that BookTube and readers just in general would get out of the habit of saying things like, well, this week I read There by Tommy Orange, and then only 10 minutes later in the video do you realize they're talking about having listened to it in their car 3 times volume. I wish we could get out of the habit of referring to such an activity as reading. The synonymizing of that activity and reading, I disagree with completely, even though I think there's a lot of merit in the first activity. When listening to a book, there's merit there, of course, but they're not the same. No. Let's see here. Question number 45. How are we doing for time? Oh, we're all right. We're doing fine. Question number 45. Most literary songwriter of your time. Noel Coward. Question number 46. What writer embarrasses you the most because you haven't read them? None. What an odd way to put it. No, none. Of course, that would be. I have read lovingly and extensively many, many times the Western canon and a great deal of the Eastern canon. So if that weren't true, I guess that my answer might be different. If I were a 28-year-old adult walking around talking to literary friends, being on BookTube, and I had got that far without reading Anna Karenina or Pride and Prejudice or Don Quixote or The Plays of Shakespeare, maybe I might feel different. But I hope that I wouldn't, and I hope that you don't feel embarrassed by that. Beat yourself up a little on the inside. I really need to make time for that, but I've got so many other things I want to read and do. Fine. Okay. As a Boston Irish Catholic, I'm not going to turn up my nose at a certain amount of good old-fashioned guilt. But embarrassment? No. No. There's no wrong way to read. So embarrassed? No, absolutely not. Question number 47. What writer embarrasses you because you've read too much of them? Well, that's closer to the truth. That's closer to the truth. Like the other day, I mentioned Craig Sargent's last Ranger novels. I think I would feel pretty embarrassed at admitting that I've not only read them all, but I've read them all many times. I don't know that embarrass is the right word. I've read every Smallville novel. I've read every Star Trek novel. I've read a ton. I have a whole bookcase right here of romance novels. And all of those things have been subjects of embarrassment at one time or another by hoity-toity readers. I think the reason why I object to the idea of embarrassment is because I cannot stand snobs of any kind, and especially in reading. What is more withering? What is more likely to discourage someone from becoming a reader than facing that kind of snobbery? Oh my God. It's worse. It's 10 times more corrosive than bullies. No. I don't know. I'm sure there are plenty of authors that I would laugh at how much of their crap I have read, but I don't think I would take the reading back. Let's see here. Question number 48. What is a biography you are looking forward to reading? Well, there are a couple. There are a couple coming out this year. But the frustrating thing about the genre of biography, if you love it the way I do, especially new release biography, is that you have to wait for a huge amount of time. You have to wait until October and November before you start getting double blasts of big, serious biographies. It's a little annoying. It's a little annoying. But there are a few that are on the horizon. For instance, there's a new forthcoming biography of Mickey Mantle that, for some reason, I have yet to receive. Scandalous. I want to read it, but I have yet to receive it. I will get it. Let's see here. I can't. Now that I'm thinking about it, I can't imagine what this question is doing on this list. How many people that Adrian tagged? You tagged 24 people. How many people are going to have a biography they're looking forward to reading? Biography's not a big genre on BookTube, is it? Despite my best efforts. Let's see here. Question number 49. Do you have a dream reading cubby? I do. You're looking right at it. I make a space like this anywhere that I go. Even at sea. I make a space like this that is very small, as small as I can make it. This room is too big. I wish that this room were about half its present size. And I fill it with, I put piles of blankets and pillows on the floor for whatever dogs I have, in case, miracle of miracles, they feel like sleeping somewhere than directly on top of me. And I line it with books, and I fill it with papers and work. And that is my little space. This place gives me energy. This little monk cell, this little book room, gives me energy instead of draining it like so much of the rest of the world does. So yeah, I do. And you're looking at it. You see it every day. Question number 50. Last literary phenomenon that really got your gears grinding. If gears grinding means negative, a literary phenomenon that irritates me, angers me, it would be ongoing. It's autofiction, which we've mentioned on this channel before, and we've heard it mentioned elsewhere. This current trend of, my name is Sidney, Sidney O'Connor, and I'm going to write a novel about a character named Sidney O'Connor, and everything that happens to my character happened to me, and I have documents for all of it. But I'm going to call it fiction. Autofiction, where, I was traumatized as a young girl, and I am now writing a novel about a character who has my name and who was traumatized in the exact same way by the exact same person who I name. But I'm going to call it a novel. Why? Well, because fiction sells better than nonfiction. But that's not how the game works. That's not how... It's not just that fiction sells better than nonfiction. It's also that you want to critic-proof your work. You want the discussion to be when the book is discussed, and of course you want the book discussed. You want $1 million advance, and you want to be on everyone's tongue. But when the book is discussed, you want the discussions to be about abuse. You want to shift the focus of conversation entirely away from whether or not you have any skill as a writer. And I hate that trick. It doesn't work with me. I wish it didn't work with more critics, and I hope that it goes away. It's writerly egotism just laid bare for all the world to see. It's very, very unsavory. Question number 51. What was the last piece of literature that changed the way you read? Can't think of one. Can't think of one. I'm a little bit on the old-fashioned side. I pretty much hammered down the way I read before I embarked on literature. And now I just, the various pieces of literature that I read just either please me or don't and get me thinking about their subjects. But the way I read, no, nothing. And then question number 52. We got here in a relatively small amount of time. What booktuber have you been watching the most recently? No concentration on any one person. I go through the rounds. I get to as many booktube videos as I can, depending on how much deadline work I have to do that day. So there's not one person where I'm just sort of mining all of their videos. I guess I should say strip cover lit at this point, shouldn't I? But anyway, that was the 52 Nifty Bookish Qs tag, an original tag by Adrian at Strip Cover Lit. Fantastic questions, and I have a goal in mind. I have a scheme for who I'm going to tag. Adrian tagged a whole bunch of great booktubers, including a long list of really established, wonderful channels. So I think what I want to do is go and find a whole bunch of new booktubers and tag them with these questions, just to help them feel included. And because these are great questions, this is a great amount of stuff to think about. So I think that's what I'll do. I think I'll do that down in the information section down below. I will try and find a bunch of new booktubers that look interesting or promising, and I'll go out and tag them. So anyway, so that is going to do it for now. That is the 52 bookish Qs. Fantastic. Can't wait to see the rest of you do this. These are great questions. So thank you, Adrian, for tagging me, and I will wrap this up, but we have plenty more to talk about. So I will be back. Thank you, BookTube.